Yes, first, thank you for the invitation and thank you, Dr. Tesfaye and Shohat, for your great presentation. I'm going in my presentation to talk about how to recognize and support a person with a mental disorder. So first I will talk about some vulnerability to have a mental disorder. Then I will talk about a typical case of a teenager. As I work with teenagers, I wanted to talk about teenagers. Then I will talk about how to recognize mental disorder and how to help someone with mental disorder as a professional and also as a non-professional. At the end, I will talk about the impact of COVID-19 on our mental health, and I will finish with some take-home messages. So it's important to say that mental disorders affects 25% of the population. That means that 1 in 4 persons will suffer from mental disorder at some point in their life. They can suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, or phobia. There is different kind of phobia as social phobia or school phobia. It's more current now with the teenager population. There is also some population that are more vulnerable to have a mental disorder as the young people. Young because they're going through a lot of change as they're growing. They're going through multiple physical, emotional, and social changes. Also, people with a story of immigration in their life and with less resources. And that can be because they're more exposed to several stressful events. It can be because of war, because of violence, poverty, separation, death, many reasons. Also, this population can have less resources as financial resource and human resource. By human resource, I mean like family and friends that you have around you. When you leave a country, most of the time you also leave the people that are around you. So if you feel bad, you have less people to talk to. This population can also have less access to healthcare, and that can be because of the cost and also because of the barrier with the language. Sometimes the patient can have the barrier language with a caregiver. It can also be because of a lack of knowledge on how to deal with mental disorder. In some countries or cultures, we're not used to talk about mental health, so the population don't know how to deal with mental health and how to take care of their own mental health. So now I'm gonna talk about a typical case of a teenager. Let's take a teenager around 16, 17 years old, a young girl, child of immigrant parents. And most of the time, immigrant parents don't have a lot of knowledge about mental health and how to deal with a child who is going through a mental disorder. This young girl have difficulties in social context. She feels very lonely and don't have much friends. Lately, she had a lot of suicidal thoughts. She has been willing to kill herself and she was really feeling very sad. When she was feeling hopeless, one night she called the helpline. In most countries in Europe, there is helpline that you can reach all the time, even at night. And then when you call this helpline, you can have a professional with who you can talk to about your problems. So that's what these girls did. And so then after she had a meeting with a psychologist, and after she had a meeting with a psychologist and her parents, and it creates a space where they were able to talk about her mental disorder and how she was feeling. It's important to say that suicide is the third leading cause of death in 15 to 19 years old age range, and that it's not just an high income country problem. In fact, more than 75% of suicides occur in low and middle income countries, and that can be because of financial stress or violence or war or many other reasons. So now I'm going to talk about how to recognize a person with a mental disorder. First, an important thing to say is that to give a diagnosis of mental disorder, it's always a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a professional that can give this diagnosis. But what we can say that often we can see a before and an after. Like before, this person was feeling happy or going out with his friends or doing a lot of things, and after, like, she changed and she started to stay at home, not be willing to see other people, etc. Mental disorder can occur after a traumatic event, but most of the time it's more like an accumulation of stressful events during your life. And when you have a mental disorder, most of the time it's hard for you to continue to have a normal life. That means continue to go to school or go to work or continue to see your friends. Two of the most common mental disorders are depression and anxiety. So the case of the teenager I was talking about, she had a diagnosis of severe depression and anxiety. The symptoms she had related to depression was sadness. She was feeling very sad most of the time, and she didn't know why she was feeling sad. She had suicidal thoughts. She had a lack of interest. She used to like to sing, to dance, and go out with her friends. But lately, she felt like she didn't want to do anything, and she changed a lot. She also had a lot of sleep problems. That means it was hard for her to sleep at night, and during the night she was waking up several times, and most of the time during the day she was feeling very tired at school. She also felt a lot of guilt because she was feeling like that, and around her and her family they never talk about mental health. It was a topic that was never raised around her. She had also symptoms related to anxiety. She had difficulty to be concentrated in class. It was hard for her to be focused when also she had a long conversation with the person. She had irritability, like she was becoming angry very easily, but she was always keeping this anger for herself and never expressed it. She also had shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat, and dizziness. And this was symptoms she had around a social context. At night also, most of the time she was having nightmares with a very anxious situation. Other difficulties that she had in her life, that was that she hardly communicates with the people around her about her emotion. So most of the time she felt like she was wearing a mask and act like she was always happy, even when she was feeling very sad. She also felt a lot of pressure to be perfect, and she didn't want to disappoint her parents. And also she felt like she had nobody to talk to, and that she had nobody around her who experienced something similar, and she felt very alone. So how to help someone with a mental disorder? As a professional, the professional can help by prescribing medication. To prescribe medication, it's always a doctor, like a psychiatrist, a doctor who prescribes the medication. If it's for a teenager, you always need the authorization of the parent. But medication is not used most of the time because parents don't want medication for the children, but it's a possibility. Also psychotherapy. So psychotherapy for the child, that means seeing a psychologist every week or twice a week or every 2 weeks. So it gives a safe place to the teenager to talk about his feelings and all the symptoms he has. Another thing that can help is group with other people or other patients that have similar symptoms or similar problems. So it's a safe place where the person can talk about his problems and can feel understand. And that can really help too. There is other way to help if you're not a professional. But first, an important thing to say is that there is no miracle solution. Most of the time when someone have a mental disorder or suffer from symptoms, it's because they had an accumulation of stressful events. So don't try to find the specific event that lead to the mental disorder. And also it takes time to heal, so you have to be patient. It's good if you encourage the person to speak about their emotion, and if you listen to the person with empathy, that means without being judgmental, and try to be at the other person's place. It's good also if you try to do activities with them, like going out to some sport or any enjoyable activity. Show interest to the person. That means try to talk to the person, ask them how they feel, how they are, so the person knows that there is someone else that cares about them. And last thing that can help also is to learn about mental health problems and like make it a discussion with the people around you. So there is more discussions about it, and it becomes less of a stigma, because mental health is as important as physical health. Another thing that might have impacted our mental health is COVID-19. So COVID-19 is a worldwide crisis. It's something that most of the people never experienced. So it's important to manage and welcome your emotions. It's normal to feel sad, anxious, stressed, or scared. So you really have to feel your emotion and try to use your skills. Like if you have any skill or talent like writing, drawing, singing, use it to express your emotion. You can also have discussions about it, or if you need, ask for help. A thing that you should not do is like use alcohol or drugs to deal with your emotion. These are just temporary and unhealthy way to cope with your emotions. It will maybe help just for the short term, but for the long term, it's not gonna help you. And also it's gonna harm your body. You can also be feeling very anxious and have fears. It's normal because in the media, we were hearing a lot of sad things about COVID-19, people who are dying. So a good thing is to limit the information you receive from the media. That means shut off the TV, your phone, and take a break. Also, if you're feeling anxious or have fear, it's good to understand where it comes from and try to learn how to deal with it and how to not have the fear. For example, if you have fear to have COVID-19, a good thing is to learn how to be protected, maybe by wearing gloves a mask, on having social distancing. Many things like that can help you to be more calm and have less anxiety and fear towards it. A thing that is very general and can help is to breathe deeply, take time to breathe, and to get fresh air. Also, during COVID-19, you can feel very lonely by staying at home. Now it's going better, we can go out, but during this time, it was really important to, if you used to see your friend, to continue to see your friend by texting them, call them, or video calls. There is people who still can go out because they're very fragile or have a health problem. So to not feel lonely, it can be good to continue to reach your friend and try to have a similar life that you used to have. If you had a mental disorder, it's good to also continue to see your psychologist or your doctor or any professional via video call, because most of the professionals continue to work by video call. Also, if you feel lonely, another thing that can help, it's like go for a walk. Even if you're alone, go outside, go walk. And by seeing other people outside, it can help you to feel less alone. So some take-home messages. First is that it's important to take care of your mental health. For that, you have to work on your social, emotional, and social area. That means give space to your emotion, allow and welcome your emotion, and don't try to hide or to avoid them. It's good also to exercise, take some walk, do sport, because sports really helps to relieve stress. It's important also to have enough sleep to limit stress or try to avoid stress. That can be by being enough prepared, or by avoiding or seeing less people that stress you, or people that give you a negative vibe. Another thing that is good is to show gratitude, be grateful of the thing that you like or you're happy in your life, and say more thank you. Another thing that I really like is to take some social media break. I think that we should not be all the time connected to our phone or to TV and media. It's really important to take some break and shut our phone off, especially at night and at some moment during the day. And last thing is to explore yourself. By that I mean discover yourself. Try to discover what you like, what makes you happy, and try to do more of that things. Another take-home messages is to seek help, especially if you feel overwhelmed, very stressed, if you want to harm yourself or kill yourself. Try to talk about that to your family or to your friends. If you can also talk to a health professional, and so it gives you a safe space where you can talk. Another thing that can help is a hotline. There is in every country in Europe, I think, hotline that you can reach all the time, and where you can talk with the professional about your problem, and they can tell you what to do to feel better and really help you. It can also be anonymous. And this, most of the time, you see it on publicity spot or on the internet. Last take-home message is how to help someone who maybe have a mental disorder or have some negative symptoms. First, I would say listen to the person with empathy. Don't be judgmental, and try really to listen to the person and let them talk and accept the emotion of the other person. Try to propose activities, try to go out with the person, do things that you like or the other person like, so this person feels less alone. Continuously take news, so the person see that you care about them and that you're here for them in case they feel very bad. Another thing is encourage the person to seek help from a professional. If you see that a person really changed and like she used to be very happy, seeing his friends all the time and doing activities, and one day they change, they just want to stay home, or you don't see them anymore, maybe you should ask if this person is okay, and if it's too much, encourage a person to seek help from a professional. And and last thing is to learn about mental health. It's important to learn about mental health and to make it a conversation, to talk about it with your family, with your friends, so it stops the stigma. And I think it's also why we are here today, is to talk about it and to make it a conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona, for your presentation. It was very insightful.